Hi guys, welcome back to this session. This session is presented to you by Competition Crusade. My name is Somajit Goswami and we are going to discuss RC Masterclass 2. Now, we have to understand in the previous masterclass we defined the parameters on which we are going to rank or we are going to order the reading comprehension passages for our RC sectionals or our CAT mocks. Okay. Now, obviously, I have defined the parameters. What were those parameters? Okay, language, content, topic, type of questions. In this session, I'm going to take an entire RC sectional from a previous SimCat. Obviously, I mean, you can take any previous year mock paper or even any current mock test that you have. Okay, doesn't really matter. From any of the players, that too again doesn't matter. Okay, the process effectively remains the same. Okay, the methodology to solve remains the same. It's just the ranking that is differs from one sectional to another. Now, without further wasting any more time, let me take you to that exact paper which I was talking about. Now, I totally understand that a part of this paper is invisible because my video is there. Okay, don't worry, I will disable the video whenever I feel necessary, but for our purposes today we are not solving these passages. As I have mentioned in the previous video as well, these particular videos, these particular RCs will be solved in a video, one-on-one video format, which you can obviously get in the YouTube channel that I have. Also, please understand that the PDFs will also be available in the Telegram community. Telegram is something, if you haven't joined, please join the Telegram group. You can contact with me directly in the Telegram community. All you need to do is just find Competition Crusade and you need to find any of the admins. You can text them and you can, get in touch with me. Having said that, in this session, what I am going to do is I am going to read through the RCs and try to, give them some sort of a ranking based on my understanding. Now, I totally understand that my rating can differ extremely from somebody who is maybe a pro player or maybe somebody who's a beginner. So this is a relative rating. Always understand that whatever I am rating, it's based on my experience, my level of awareness towards this section. Okay, and please understand, you will improve over a period of time. Okay, so let me before I can go, let me go to the whiteboard area and create a kind of a table. So just give me a second. Let me take the. So what I'm going to do is I know for a fact that this particular reading comprehension VARC sectional has 5 RCs because this is a SimCat, it's an old SimCat. Okay. So we are going to design the ranking methodology like that only. Okay, so one, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now this is where I will write language. This is where I will write content, and this is where I will write type of questions. Now understand this for a fact that I'm not putting one more column for topic. Topic is something which you like, which sometimes you don't like to read, but please understand this, in this reading comprehension sessions we don't have any we don't have the liberty to actually leave out reading. So even if you're not approaching the questions, even if you're not solving the questions, you have to read the RCs. That much is taken for granted, that you have to read. Also, what is language, what is content, what is type of question, I have discussed everything in detail in the previous video. Go to the previous masterclass 01, you will understand language, content and type of questions. Okay, now I will go from one passage to the other passage, obviously because I was creating the videos. I had marked some of the answers, some of the I have highlighted here and there. but I don't think that will create a lot of problem. I'll come back and then we will do it. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so this is the first reading comprehension passage. Now how I go about these type of passages is that I read the first paragraph, I read the second paragraph. If first paragraph is a little bit more ambiguous, then I have to read the second paragraph also. So the first paragraph is, let me read it out for you. Evolution is a fascinating field but can be rife with misunderstanding. One misconception is that evolution has some innate sense of direction or purpose. In reality, evolution is a mindless, plan-free phenomenon driven into endless possibilities by random mutations, the most successful of which wins out. There are some areas of evolutionary biology where benefits are murkier, and in some instances where traits seem to make no sense at all. As important as the concept of survival of the fittest is to evolution, there are many examples that seem to undermine this idea. In fact, various aspects of evolutionary biology may seem counterintuitive and could even be seen as a reason to reject evolution as a whole. Now, this is pretty intense from the very first read. Okay. Language is something which I have always said that the rating of language will always be based on whether you can read it a little faster or not. By the sense of it, okay, the first time that I'm glancing at it, I can see one thing for sure, that I cannot read it faster. Okay, I have to maybe slow down a little bit just so that, you know, I can make sense of what is happening. So at this point, I don't want to go to the next paragraph. At this point, all I know, and I want you all to do this also with me, read the first paragraph, second paragraph, and rate it. You may use your own copy, whatever. So let's go to the whiteboard area and, you know, name it. So first one is evolution. So language I will give it and always remember that we are rating from 0, 1, 2 to 3. 0 being extremely easy, this becomes excruciatingly difficult. This one is kind of, you know, so-so, and this one is moderate. And we know that our agenda towards these, you know, RCs will always, you know, hover between 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so our rating, you know, obviously unless until it's a no-brainer, then it will be a 0, which obviously will not be the case with CAT and, you know, similar aptitude test. Having said that, I can say that this is a moderate read, so I'm going to give it a 2. Okay, now let us go and understand what is a content. Now I have explained in the previous set that content is nothing but, I'm going to repeat myself, content is nothing but the depth of the passage. Depth means how much of arguments are there. Okay, are there any premise on which there is an argument built? Is there any conclusion? So kind of a, you know, debate that is going on, and pretty much it seems yes, because from the very first line they are giving out opinions. So whoever is the author is giving out opinion from the very first line. Evolution is a fascinating field, and then he is again saying in the last line, if you could just go to this one. Okay, so as important as the concept of survival of the fittest is to evolution, there are many examples that seem to undermine this idea. Basically, he has presented you with an idea, and then again counterintuitive ideas are also presented in this thing. So in one way or the other, you know that a debate is going to, you know, take place in this passage. So might as well I want to give it a 2 or a 2.5 also. Okay, so just for the sake of convenience, I'm going to give it a 2.5. Okay, I'm gonna give it a 2.5. Now at this point you may be thinking, sir, why are you giving a decimal? Why 2.5? Why not 3 or why not 2? The idea is that you are free to give it any sort of rating that you feel like that can help you. Understand that when passages become a little heavy on content, you know, they're heavy on ideas, they're heavy on conversations, it appears that the more accurate we are with our ratings, it will be easier for us to come back to those RCs, because remember that we are going to segregate them into the first RC that we are going to solve, the second RC that we are going to solve. Okay, and in between we can solve the verbal abilities sections also. So that much makes sense. Yeah. Okay. All right, so let's go to the type of now we have type of questions, right? Because we have already marked the language part and the content part, so let's go to the type of question. Now topic, see, I have not, as I mentioned earlier also, I have not put the column for topic, because regardless of whether you like it or not, you have to read it and you have to solve it. So there's no point whether saying that I don't like this one. So let's see, even if you don't like it, let's see how many questions are direct, how many questions are infer based, how many questions are a little, reasoning type questions. So let's go to the questions. So this is the first question, and we are not going to look at the options. So obviously the options are in front of you, so try to not look at the options. Okay, so this is the first question. We are just going to read the questions and we don't really care about the options as of now. What is the principal argument that the author is making in the passage? Principal argument is something that is related to the main idea or the central idea. So you have to understand, you have to really understand, this is not a direct question, this is an infer type question. Okay. Which of the following is not based on the information provided in the passage? You have to understand, not a direct question directly, but obviously when you read the entire passage, you can understand that this, if you understand the passage really well, you can only answer this question. This is also not a direct question. Which of the following, if true, would nullify the central argument of the passage? Okay, 3 questions so far. There are 5 questions. Okay, if you know, obviously you know beforehand how many questions the RC will have, but 3 questions so far, which is infer type question. So I know that I can rate it somewhere around 2.5 or 2 or 3 based on how much well aware I am with infer type question. Now please remember, I'm not undermining the fact that we do not do infer type questions, or we should not do reasoning type questions. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is inference type questions are always going to be a little more trickier than direct question. Direct question, I know that there is a passage, I can always refer back to, I can go back to the passage and I can get my answer. But the fact that which of the following, if true, would nullify the central argument of the passage, you have to understand the central argument thoroughly. I hope that makes sense. Okay. In any case, let's read the 4th question. According to the passage, the difference between a vestigial structure and a spandrel. This is a direct question, so maybe when we read about vestigial structure and a spandrel, we can answer this question. And then let's see, the 5th one is this. Okay, this one is the 5th one. The passage supports the inference that. Again, this is an inference type question. So actually, I will go to the whiteboard area now. Actually, type of question, I'll give it a 2.5 only. I'll give it a 2.5. Now so far you can see this is 5 and 2, which is total 7. Okay, in the previous RC masterclass, I have already told you that we have to play somewhere in, we will always be in the range of 6, 7, 8. Okay, none of the passages will be as simple as a 4 or a 3, and obviously if it is a no-brainer, then cat will never ask you such type of questions, but I hope that makes sense. Having said that, one more interesting thing, guys, at this point you can ask me, sir, this is taking too much time. Obviously this is taking a little too much time for me, but please understand, when you will have done enough and more sessions, when you have done enough and more RCs practice like this, it will not take that much amount of time for you. So you don't even need to write language content type of question. You can just write LCT and then you can just start off giving the ratings. Is it important? Yes, it is paramount that you do this thing, because reading comprehension is not just reading. There are questions, and questions can only be answered if your comprehension is up to the par of the up to the par. Let's go to the next passage. Let's read this one. Okay, so the first paragraph, I will say that pause at this point in time, read the first paragraph. I hope you have paused, so let me read it out for you. The problem of time is of the greatest puzzles of modern physics. The first bit of the conundrum is cosmological. To understand time, scientists talk about finding the first cause or initial condition, a description of the universe at the very beginning or at time equals 0. But to determine a system's initial condition, we need to know the total system. We need to make measurements of the positions and velocity of its constituent parts, such as particles, atoms, fields, and so forth. This problem hits hard wall when we deal with origin of the universe itself, because we have to view from the outside. We can't step outside of the box in order to look within, because the box is all there is. A first cause is not only unknowable, but also scientifically unintelligible. This is a kind of a passage which I like. Okay, I would read this. Maybe I will read it maybe at my normal speed, a little lower than my normal speed. But one thing I know for sure is obviously I have highlighted two words: conundrum, unintelligible. Okay, quandaries. There are a few words also I have highlighted, as you can see. Okay, but the fact is that the gist of it I can understand. Okay, maybe because I'm a science student, I have been a science student, so maybe that is the reason why I can understand this. That's my bias, but what can you do about it? So I like this one. So as far as language goes, probably I will give it a lower rating. Okay, so let me go to the whiteboard area, and I would want to, first of all, let me name this one. So time. Okay, you could just, you don't even need to write the names. I'm just writing it for your sake. Okay, so I am going to the language. I'm going to give it a 1.5. Okay, obviously because it's not that easy that I can give it a 1. So 1.5. About the content. So after reading the first paragraph, all that I can understand is this is pretty much factual, but there's a commentary that is happening. That the problem of time, so they're gonna discuss the problem. Maybe they will give you the solution of the time as well. Okay, so sort of there are arguments, not the kind of arguments that will totally throw you off the border. So for me, I think this, I want to give it a I will probably give it a sort of 1.5 again, 1.5 to 1.7, whatever you want to give. You can also, if you want to give it a 2, you can give it a 2 also. Now the most important thing, the type of questions. Okay, let's go to the type of questions now. Which of the following encapsulates the central argument of the discourse? Central argument, infer type question. This is not a direct question. You cannot go to any passage, refer back and give the answer. Okay, so this is an infer type question. Question number 2 is, all of the following are in agreement with the passage except. Understand that you need to understand the passage really well. You cannot be like, okay, I'll read the options and then I'll say I'll go back to some particular passage and then I'll answer it. No, you have to understand the passage. So this is again not a direct question, a infer type question. Okay. Question number 3, according to the passage, which of the following is not true about the first cause? Again, not a direct question, but a kind of a question. If you have understood the first paragraph, understood the first cause, you can answer this. So this can be, labeled as a direct question. I would not consider this as an infer one. Now this is the fourth one. Okay, so this is the fourth one. This is a direct question. I can already see this thing. Okay guys, just give me a second. So as you can see, I have highlighted this one in paragraph number 3. In our urge for knowledge, in paragraph number 3, gives you a invitation to go to paragraph number 3, and obviously you would have read this one. Paragraph number 3 is the paragraph that you can go and you can actually confirm back whether you know this or not. So again, without reading the options, I can go back to paragraph number 3, form a shadow answer. A shadow answer is basically, let's read the question first. Okay, it says that in our urge for knowledge and control, we've created a vision of science as a series of discoveries about how reality is in itself. A God's eye view of nature. What does the phrase God's eye view of nature stand for? Obviously, when you go back, you'll read it, you will know, you will form a shadow answer, and then you will see the options and you will eliminate the ones which are not there. So this is a direct question. So 2 questions so far, infer type two question, not infer type, sort of, they're direct. Let's see the last one. The phrase with age Einstein became more circumspect, paragraph number 2 is used to. Again, this is a direct question, so I will rate this one. Okay, I'm not going to rate it moderate on the type of questions. I'm going to give it a 1.3 or something. Okay, you can also give it a 1, you can also give it a 1, you can also give it a 2 if you like. Okay, but my agenda in this session is that I want to come out with some absolute numbers at the end of it. Okay, so what is the overall rating now? So this is 3, 4, 4.3. Okay, this is 4.3. so yeah, this is 4.3. Now please understand, if I would have given it 1, it would have been 4. So you know for a fact that you have to come to this one as your first RC. Okay, so you know that by the end of this discussion, by the end of this rating process, I know that this is my first RC, that I'm going to come to this one definitely. Okay, let's go back. Let's go to the next reading comprehension. Okay, this is the next one. Let's read this out. I'll ask you to pause the video right now and read it out. I hope you did pause and read. Let me read it out for you once. The first paragraph. Like a brain, an ant colony operates without a central control. Each is a set of interacting individual, either neurons or ant, using simple chemical interaction that in aggregate generate their behavior. People use their brains to remember. Can ant colonies do that? This question leads to another question: what is memory? For people, memory is the capacity to recall something that happened in the past. We also talk about computers that reproduce past action. The blending of the idea of the computer as a brain and brain as computer has led us to take memory to means something like the information stored on a hard drive. We know that our memory relies on changes in how much a set of linked neurons stimulate each other, that is reinforced somehow during sleep, and that recent and long-term memory involve different circuits and connected neuron, but there is much we still don't know about how those neural events come together, whether there are stored representations that we used to talk about something that happened in the past, or how we can keep performing a previously learned task such as reading or riding a bicycle. Okay, I've read the first paragraph and you could see literally that my speed was a little less than normal. Okay, although this looked very, there are no jargons, there are no difficult words, so to say, but you can see that the paragraph is a little language heavy. In other words, I have to slow down a little bit to read this one. It is not at all a sin to slow down. Understand that if it is a sin to slow down, how would you understand? How will you comprehend? It is not a sin to slow down, but it is a sin to pick a set like this in the first go. So that is effectively what we are doing, right? So I will not give it a very lower rating on language. So probably I'll give it a 2. I'll give it a 2 on language. About the content, it is actually heavy on content as well. Because if you read the first paragraph, there are so many questions that the author is asking you, and he is constantly making a comparison between the brain and the ant colonies. How the brain operates, how the neuron functions, how the ant colonies perform, and I totally know that a series of arguments are going to be present. So not at all going to be one of those reading comprehension passages which is easy read. Okay, so content is also heavy, so I'll give it a 2. Type of question, this is important. Now we go to the type of question. Again, you can ask me कि sir बहुत ज़्यादा time ले रहे हो, मतलब it's taking too much time, but that's we cannot evade that. If it takes that much amount of time, it takes that much amount of time. Yeah, but this is what, the more and more you do the rating process, it will become easier for you, it will become faster for you, right? What is the central argument that the author is making? Again, infer type question, not something that you can refer back to the passage and come back. Okay, all of the following are true about ants based on this passage, except this is also not a direct question. Either way, in some sense your body remembers because Some of your cells now know antibodies, this, that. Paragraph 2, this is a direct question. So 2 questions so far infer based, 1 question I have got direct. Which of the following is not a trait of redwood ant? Direct question. Okay, you can go back, refer to a redwood ant, come back. Which of the following observation about the ant colony, if true, would provide further support to the author's thesis? Again, this is an infer type question, not a direct question. So 3 questions in all infer type, 2 direct. So I know for a fact that I cannot really give it a low rating in this one as well. So I can probably give it a 2. Okay, so this, you can see pretty much this is a 6. So obviously, if by the sense of it, this has to be my second or third RC. This can be my third RC also, second RC also, depending on the the 2 left. Now let's do this a little quickly. Okay, and guys, please understand, if you know that type of questions are also rated a little higher, you can know that probably I can skip a few questions, because please understand, +3 -1, I want as many +3s as I can, and I don't want -1 with me. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so this is the next passage. Let's read this one. Again, the same drill. You pause the video, try to read this one and on your own. Okay. Also, please understand, this is a short form of RC. Okay, this is, in 2017, 18, 19, they used to give you 3 long form RCs of 600 words. This one is, I think, somewhere around 350 to 450 words. This is a short RC, 3 paragraphs only. Let's read this out. The most central assumption in economics is that human beings are rational maximizers of their individual satisfactions and in turn respond to incentives. A rational maximizer of a personal satisfaction adjusts means to ends in the most efficient way possible. It is important to realize that economics as understood here is not restricted to analysis of monetary issues. There are non-monetary as well as monetary satisfactions. Every potential satisfaction is implicated in the calculus of economic satisfaction and therefore can be investigated according to the economic or means end rationality and the trade-off of costs and benefit. Normally, what is aimed at through economic reasoning is the improvement of efficiency. The first paragraph tells me this is not the kind of an article that I would like. I'm a science guy, I don't like economics and all. Okay, having said that, is this going to be a difficult read? No. A normal, I can read it at my normal speed. Okay, they have not introduced any special jargons also. In the first paragraph also I'm not seeing any jargons. Okay, if I quickly glance to the third paragraph or the last paragraph, I can see Calder-Hicks efficiency. I can also see something called as a Pareto optimality. Okay, so if you could just see my impression over there, Pareto optimality. So these are not jargons. So 3 paragraphs, language is readable. Not really that easy, but readable. Okay, so I will probably rate it a little low. So probably I'm gonna I'm gonna give it a 2, because obviously this is a part of the literature which I don't enjoy reading, so I don't like to read such things. Purely based on that, I'm giving it a 2. If you like it, you can probably give it a 1.5, 1, 0, whatever. Okay, maybe you're an economics graduate or maybe a master's in economics. You can, like, this is very easier for you, right? So then you understand that. Content, going by the first paragraph, I know for a fact that there are not many arguments. They're just talking about this one assumption that human beings are rational maximizers of their individual satisfaction, and that people basically click to incentives. Okay, so I think more or less they're going to only talk about how they can allocate this thing and not. Okay, so again, this way I can say that maybe I want to give it a 1.5. If you want to give it a 2, you can give it a 2 also. If you want to give it a 2.3, 2.4, depends upon you. Now the most important thing, type of questions. Let us read the type of questions. Okay, the first one, normally what is aimed at through economic reasoning is the improvement of efficiency. Paragraph 1, what does economic reasoning mean? Please understand, this is a direct question. Okay, this is a direct question. Question number 2. All these are examples of efficiency in the allocation of resources except. This is a kind of an infer type question. I'm not saying easy, difficult. Obviously, we haven't read this one, but this is an infer type question. Okay. Let's go to the contractual exchange is morally optimal in utilitarianism. Paragraph 2, direct question. According to the Kaldor-Hicks efficiency, according to the passage Kaldor-Hicks efficiency, so obviously there is a paragraph in which you have been in which you can read about Kaldor-Hicks efficiency. This is also not an infer type question, this is a direct question. Okay, which of the following if true would undermine the passage's main argument? This is a, you can say, a sort of a reasoning type question, or a kind of a question which has some sort of inference that you should be doing. So I can see most of the question, if not all of the question. So 3 questions, to be precise, 3 questions are direct questions. So I am going to rate this a little lower on the type of question. So probably I'm going to rate it 1.5. Okay, so probably I'm going to give it a 1.5. So 3 and 2, which is 5. So now I know that this is my second RC. Although I did not enjoy the economics or whatever. So this was economics one, right? Economics. This was ant colony. And let's go to the last one. Guys, I'm again telling you, this is taking a little bit of your time, 30 minutes, but understand that I am explaining how to do the rating process. When you will be doing it on your own, it will not take you 30 minutes. It will only take you maybe 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, something of that sort. This is the last one. Laypersons and academics. Okay, so I'll give you some time to read. Pause the video right now and read. I hope you have paused and read. So let me read it out for you now. Laypersons and academics alike have largely viewed creativity as a positive force on ocean, challenged by philosophers and educator Robert McLaren of California State University, Fullerton in '93. McLaren proposed that creativity has a dark side. As time went on, newer concept negative malevolent activity, including conceiving original ways to cheat on a test or doing purposeful harm to other, for instance, innovating new ways to execute terrorist attacks. Understand this for a fact that I am in love with, obviously, I have read this one before, but can you get anything in the first paragraph, can you get anything that can be considered as difficult? Obviously not. So the first paragraph definitely is not difficult. The first paragraph is totally readable. It's an easy read, I would say. So in terms of the first, just going by the first paragraph, all that I can say for this RC is that I'm going to rate on the front of language. So I'm going to name it the art, okay, or rather creativity, right? So it's not art, it's actually creativity. Give me a second, guys. Creativity. Okay, so I'm going to give it a 1. I'm going to give it a 1 just purely based on the first paragraph. Okay. And actually, when you go through this one, you will realize that this is not very, it's not very difficult to read kind of a passage. Okay, we looked at the problem through psychologists called 3 Ps and stuff. And if you look at this now, this is again, this has a bit of an argument, and this is a little long also. So yes, there is a bit of an argument that is going on there. They are discussing about the dark side of creativity, and then probably they'll give you some examples. They'll talk about how to get out of it, maybe, how to actually, work around the dark side of this thing. Yeah. Having said that, by the first paragraph, even if you read the second paragraph, or if you want to read the last paragraph, you would realize, maybe let's not read the entire last paragraph. Maybe let's just read the one line that I have highlighted over here. One can argue that dark humor has the potential to psychologically harm others, but dark jokes made with intent to elicit laughter highlight the importance of distinguishing means and ends in creative pursuit. If you read this again, this is not very difficult to read. I will give it a, I don't want to become too much optimistic, so I will give it a 1.5. Okay, I'll give it a 1.5. And let's go back to the questions. Let us read the question. What is the central argument presented by the author in the passage? Very important question, infer type question. Okay, I like this. The phrase sure, but this can be slippery slope is paragraph 4. Direct question. We don't really need to think too much. This is a direct question. Based on the passage, all the following are true about advertising, except infer type question, not a direct question. You actually, if you understand, if you pause for a while and if you understand, if you understood the passage, you can answer this question probably without even going back to the passage. But if you haven't, then you have to understand what was the advertising thing talking about, and then probably this can create a bit of a hassle for you. Otherwise, this is completely fine. So not exactly an infer type question. Question number 3 is not exactly infer type question, but it is sort of a, you can say, not direct also. In the second paragraph, question number 4, in the second paragraph, the author uses the problem. So this is a direct question, problem. You can go back to paragraph number, second paragraph, and you can answer this question. Okay, that's it. And this basically, this is summary types. Okay, so based on the questions, based on the question which has, okay, so I am not going to give it you know, a lesser sort of a rating. I'll give it a somewhere around 1.5. If you want to give it a 2, you can give it a 2. I'm going to give it a 1.5. So this I am giving it 4. So now you know that this becomes my first one. Accordingly, this becomes my second, this becomes my third, this becomes my fourth, and this becomes my fifth choice. Okay, final arrangement. Let me use the eraser to erase the unnecessary stuff. Okay, I hope this made sense. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Now guys, please understand, if you want to take a screenshot, you probably want to take a screenshot at this point. Okay, so please understand that this is just 24 questions. There are 10 more questions. This is obviously a previous CAT mock, so there are 24 questions so far. Okay, there are 10 more questions of VA. Even if you solve around, let's say, even if you solve somewhere around 12 to 15 questions, you will receive, for plus 3, if it is 15, you will receive 45 marks. And if you solve 5 verbal abilities question, this will give you another 15 marks. Okay, so 60 marks there is. Your percentile will jump from a 90 to 95, 95 to 99. Understand this thing, that all that you have to do is understand how many inference type questions are there, and if infer type questions are something that you find difficult, you can skip them. So out of 24 question, it is not recommended that you will solve all the 24 question. If you solve all the 24 question and all the 24 question becomes correct, just multiply that with 3, you will know the answer. 72 is the marks that you will get. Okay, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 60 and 12. Understand this for a fact. 72 will make you a 99 percentile in VA. That is not going to happen if you are not a pro player. Obviously, if you would have been a pro player, you would not be seeing this video. You would not be seeing this video. Understand, this is what you should be doing. Now let's talk about how to solve those passages and all. I will solve all the RCs. I will solve many RCs after this session also. But this is how you should be solving the sectionals, the VARC sectionals. Having said that, I would not want to increase the video any further. I just want to tell you that now go on, start solving your VARC sectionals with this strategy, and try to refrain from solving standalone RCs. If you want to solve standalone RCs, it's great, but you don't really need to solve standalone RCs as much as you should read long form essays from Eon, Psych, New York Times, Guardian, Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg. There are enough and more number of websites available over there wherein you can go and read. Okay. Alright guys, so the next videos will be series of videos wherein I will be solving these RCs. Okay, I don't need to solve also, because you have the solutions also. So I'll upload the PDF in the Telegram group, and if by some by some luck I am not able to upload it, you can directly contact me in the Telegram group for the PDF. I'll give you the PDF. You can practice from there. Okay, many more sessions like this are coming in data interpretation, logical reasoning, quantitative abilities, and VARC. Don't forget to subscribe to Competition Crusade, and remember guys, I will grow with your support, so please show some support. Share my videos to your friends who are preparing, genuine aspirants. I'm not asking you to do promotion and stuff. I'm asking if somebody is genuinely in need, you can share it with them. Okay, with that being said, I will take your leave. Thank you very much. This is me, Somanjit Goswami, signing out. Happy learning for CAT 2022. I hope you make the best out of it. Bye.